What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Jumpin' Joey here, and today I want to give you an update that's on my Elementsaber deck profile for the September 2018 ban list. So for those of you who don't know what Elementsabers are, they were a deck that came out with Flames of Destruction, and they were predicted to be a very good deck. However, no one really saw it coming when Ancient Fairy Dragon got smacked, and since they are a field spell based deck, they kind of just lost a lot of momentum, and they kind of just fell short. But at the same time, I still feel like the Elementsaber deck is still a really solid deck. Definitely could do well at locals. I've won a couple of games with it myself. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting things off, we run our boss monster, Elementsaber, Lapala Mana. So this is pretty much your big guy. This is your key to playing the entire deck. So you can special summon this card from your hand by discarding two monsters, and depending on those two monsters, what attribute they were, and if they were Elementsaber monsters, this card gets a special effect. So basically, if you discard two Elementsaber monsters, depending on their attributes, which is one of the biggest parts about this deck, it's all based around attribute, it gets an effect. So for Earth and Wind, it can't be, and this affects all of your Elementsaber monsters and your Elemental Lord monsters as well. It's not just him that gets the effect, they all do. So if you discard an Earth or a Wind monster, it can't be destroyed by battle. Let me zoom in right there so you guys can read it with me. Water or fire can't be destroyed by effects, and light or dark, your opponent can't target it with card effects. So that's crazy good, because of the fact that they just can't be destroyed for a bit. You know, might buy you a little bit of time if you're going up against like the Goki matchup or something. And next up, we run the triple Lapala. Looks like they could be brothers or something. So Lapala's effect is a quick effect. You can discard an Elementsaber monster. When a spell or trap is activated, you can send one Elementsaber monster from your hand to the graveyard and negate the activation if you destroy it. Another thing that I do want to mention, all the Elementsaber monsters except for Lapala Mana have the same secondary effect where you can change their attribute in grave. Now that might not seem like much, but at the same time, some of the other monsters in this deck, you'll understand why that's really good. And next up, we run the triple triple, where's the third one? There's the third one. So essentially, this is the reinforcement of the army for the deck. You discard one Elementsaber monster from your hand, add one Elementsaber or one Elemental Lord monster from your deck to your hand except Mankey. And they're all one. No, actually, I don't think their effects are all hard ones per turns. Are they? No, their effects are not hard ones per turns. That's pretty dope. I didn't even realize that. So, you know, essentially, here's the monster reborn of the deck, Anaia. So with Anaia, you discard one Elementsaber monster, and then you can special summon one Elementsaber monster, or Elemental Lord monster that's been properly summoned, which I'll explain when we get to the Elemental Lords. And then special summon it. And then, like I said, they can have that base secondary effect to change their attribute. Next up, we also run the double Molhu and the double Mallow. I cut Molhu down to 2 because I feel like he's not crazy good. But at the same time, he's also a 1900 point beat stick, and he's essentially a Book of Moon. So that's pretty dope, honestly. But at the same time, I feel like it's not as effective as the other ones. And Mallow, I just wanted to run Mallow over Nalu, I think is how you pronounce it. The water one? I forget. Now for the one-ofs of the deck, we're on the other cards in the deck. We run the one Moonglacia and the one Philosopher. These are the only two Elemental Lords I run. So to summon these guys, you have to special summon them by having exactly a certain amount of monsters in your graveyard. For Moonglacia, it is 5 water monsters. For Philosopher, it is 5 light monsters. And since they can all change their attribute in grave, that's pretty damn good. So you can special summon these guards pretty quickly. And then they have their own effect. So Moonglacia makes your opponent discard 2 cards. Philosopher is essentially just a Regeki. The one downside of these cards is when they leave field, you have to skip your next battle phase. And here's something I actually do have a question about that I don't know the answer to. Say for instance they get attacked by something, and say for instance they get attacked by Borload, and then Borload comes, you know, they take control of it. Say they link it away, and then it technically left field on their side, but since it's your monster, I don't know if you have to skip your battle phase or they have to. I just don't know. If you know the answer to that ruling, leave a link in the description to the ruling or just tell me. And now for the non-Elementsaber and Elemental Lore support, we run the double Destrudo. We run the one Darkest Diablos because we are running the Layer of Darkness engine in this deck, which I'll explain. The one Dark Arm Dragon and the one Mirror Mirror for that Yazi combo. So like I said, we run the Layer of Darkness engine. Dark Arm Dragon is very similar to the Elemental Lords. You know, it requires 3 Dark Monsters in grave, special summon it. And Mirror Mirror is in there for the Yazi combo, which I'll explain when we get to Yazi. That's it for the monsters. For the spells we run, we're in the Triple Palace of the Elemental Lords. Okay, so this actually might take a little bit of time to explain. So essentially, all monsters you control gain attack points equal to the different attributes in graveyard times 200. So because of the fact that they can change their attributes, you essentially could get up to 7 different attributes, because a lot of people do forget Divine Beast is an attribute. So in reality, they can gain, all your monsters gain up to 1400 attack points and defense points, which is crazy. Then once per turn, you can add one Elementsaber monster from your deck to your hand, but you have to skip the battle phase of your next turn, even if the card leaves the field. That's the one thing that bites. And then once per turn, if an Elementsaber monster in your hand or on field would send cards from your hand to graveyard to activate an effect, you can send that many Elementsaber monsters from your deck to your grave instead. So essentially, it pretty much opens up so much more doors for all of your Elementsaber monsters. So if you open with this, with Lapala Mana, so essentially you activate, use the effect, bring out Lapala Mana by dumping something out of your deck. So that's one of the big parts of this deck. Palace is one of the biggest game pieces. Next up, we also run the triple Dragon Ravine to dump out Destrudo and Darkest Diablos and blah blah blah. Then we also run the one Layer of Darkness. Like I said, we run that engine. And we also run the double Terraforming. So essentially, if you open up with any of these 9 cards, about a quarter of the deck, you're in a very good position, honestly. You're in a very good position. I wish Terraforming was still at 3. It'd be so much better. But still, you gotta give it what you got. Next up, we also run, we run the double Call by the Grave, because there's a lot of searching in this deck. We run the double Pile of Desires and the one Reinforcement of the Army. And that's it for the spells. Let's get right into my trap cards. I only run 1 trap in this deck, but you run 3 copies of them, which is the Elemental Training. So with Elemental Training, it's pretty much like adding, there are a couple of cool things about this card. For starters, it's a shield layer for the Palace. Your opponent can't target it by card effects, and it can't be destroyed by card effects, which is awesome. And then once per turn, you can contribute 1 monster, special summon 1 Elementsaber monster from your deck with a different original attribute than that monster, which is why I love running this card with let me get it, with Layer of Darkness, because you contribute your opponent's monsters with Elemental Training. So you activate this, you throw Elemental Training, tribute one of their monsters, then you can essentially summon just about any single Elementsaber in your deck except for Molhu. Let's pronounce it Molhu. Essentially, this is the only monster you cannot summon from Elemental Training combo with Layer of Darkness, which honestly I'm totally fine with. And then it also has another effect, which I'm not a huge fan of. I've never really gotten into it, but it's there if you need it. You can send this face-up card from your field to the graveyard, discard your entire hand, then add Elemental Lord monsters from your graveyard to your hand equal to the number of cards discarded. Now, does that mean it has to be the same? Like, I only run 2 Elemental Lords, so does that mean I have to have exactly 2 in my hand to bring them both back? Or can I discard 3 and still bring them both back? I don't know. But that is it for the main deck. For my extra deck, since we do run synchros in this deck, we run the 1 Yazi, we run the 1 Dragster, and the 1 Black Rose Dragon for our synchro support. For our XZ support, I run Utopia with Utopia Lightning. Pretty self-explanatory, everything there. And then for our Link support, we run the 1 Borolo Dragon, we run the 1 Saruja, we run the 1 Trispania, we run the 1 Unicorn, the 1 Phoenix, the 1 Cerberus, the double Isolde with the 1 Peroxy Dragon, and the 1 Link Spider. Now, a lot of people actually ask me why I run Link Spider in this deck, because none of my monsters are normal. The main reason is because of Mirror Mirror. Because of the fact that for 3 times per turn, you can lower this monster's level by 1 to special summon a Mirror Mirror token. So a normal Mirror Mirror token. So essentially, if I can do that 3 times, I got 1 Mirror Mirror with a Peroxy Dragon and a Link Spider. I can link them all away, bring out Borreload almost instantly. I bring out Saruja instantly. I do a lot with that. So in reality, running Mirror Mirror is actually really good. So that is it for my deck profile for the Elementsabers, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you check out my channel again for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos. This is Jumpin' Joey, jumping off.